We can't get off topic. That's the thing. You starting it?
Alrighty. Owen Powers, what do you think of the novel Dracula by Bram Stoker?
Well, I would say I liked it. I liked it so far. Chapters 1 through 4 were very interesting and made me actually enjoy reading it. 5 and 6 threw me in a loop. I will not lie. Did not expect that, but overall, I enjoy it so far.
What'd 7 send you on?
Well, what?
That one didn't put you on a loop or nothing? Chapter 7?
Yeah, chapter 7. That was weird.
5, 6, and 7?
Well, mainly 6 and 7. He started talking to people.
I could do this like 30 minutes straight.
Luke, what did you think about
I
Dracula?
got to agree with Owen. First 4 chapters, I actually wanted to
Very
read.
interesting.
Yes, very interesting. I actually wanted to read. 5 and 6,
Made me want to shoot myself.
pretty much fairly boring.
Very
At first, I didn't see how it was helping the plot line of Dracula, which the book is named after.
Mm-hmm.
And then chapter 7 started connecting the puzzle pieces.
And how would you say it connects back?
Well, personally, I think, I'm not for sure. I'll have to go back and look at the dates. I'm going to do that this morning.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Dracula, it's in those boxes of dirt
Mm-hmm.
on the ship. I think that was all those graves.
That were in
whatever.
the bottom of Dracula.
For sure.
But the only thing that doesn't make sense is, or actually 2 things, is where Jonathan Harker is, if that is indeed Dracula.
Mm-hmm.
Unless he's the corpse swinging on the front of the boat.
You think that? Mm.
I don't know.
Mm.
I don't think so, because later his journal continues. So
And he
where
can't continue his
Well,
journal
the
if
thing
he's
with the
dead.
soil is... Well, okay, we'll get back to that, but you'll have to explain what you guys
I
think.
just don't know where Jonathan Harker is.
Yeah, it's a little weird right now.
What do you think about the book so far?
I would have to say I agree. The first 4 chapters very good.
Solid.
Caught my attention very well. It was a good read. Then I got to 5 and 6, and it was like whole new book. I didn't want to read it.
Yeah.
7, kind of got back into that fun part of the read, and it was bringing back in the Dracula part of the story. So I thought that was
If
more
our
interesting.
suspicions are correct.
If
Mm.
and are you suspecting that he's in one of those coffins?
I think so. And then
Because it kind of at the end of Bram Stoker or Jonathan's journal, like the chapter ended, I thought he was in there, and that group of people came in and were sealing those boxes up or the
Was he?
coffins up.
well, I know they were
Well, yeah, there were
sealed,
people
right?
coming to pick him up or something, but
they were sealing them and taking them, and Dracula was
wasn't he in one of them? Because
Yeah,
that's when he hit him with the
was.
shovel.
because he had like just regenerated his youth or whatever, which
Yeah.
I think he bit Jonathan, and that's why he was all plump like that and swollen in the coffin because he had just fed on Jonathan.
And then that's what helped him get you.
Yeah.
Well, no, he
Regenerate.
ate that little kid, right?
No, they ate the little kid a couple days
Well, it
ago.
says every night he disappears, so he could be eating anything.
Yeah,
at that time.
he goes down the wall.
Yeah, he goes down the wall every night. He's going to feed at that time because
I think
Jonathan was talking about he doesn't see him during the day. He doesn't see him at any time,
Well,
like
he can't
eating
see
or
him during
anything.
the day. He's never gonna be able to.
Well,
see
exactly.
him.
So he's outside at night while Jonathan's
Yeah.
sleeping doing
the last day in his journal is June 30th, and the day that the things started happening on the boat. Well, they picked up the boxes of earth on July 6th. You can find that on page 70.
Alright.
And then, where is the first day? On July 13th, it says the crew's dissatisfied about something. They seem scared but not speak out. So I think that's when he started coming after. And I don't know if y'all noticed, but during the day there was nothing
Going on.
Yeah, there's nothing going on. And during the day, that Russian ship was just kind of floating around. They said it seemed like there's nobody steering.
It said it seemed like Ghost Creek.
But then at night, it just randomly. They said like there's no way it could have made it, but it did. So Dracula, with hundreds of years of experience,
would be able to handle that.
and then disappeared. Maybe he turned into the dog. What's going on with the dog?
I don't think
I
they
don't
can
think they can.
shape shift in like animals and stuff. I think it's just a bat.
I've never seen. Yeah,
If he can turn into a bat, why can't he turn into a dog?
because he's a blood.
It's a vampire. It's not like a
Yeah.
werewolf.
That's like blood.
We'll
That's
figure out
like
for
the
people.
blood.
What if
What?
it's like Twilight and there's Or
I don't-
werewolf.
It's not. It's Dracula by Bram Stoker. It's not Twilight.
Well,
Yeah.
Twilight could have copied some of the same things. Am I wrong?
Nah.
You're not wrong.
Oh.
Okay.
Wait.
Matt, what
Yeah.
did you think?
What do you think of the book?
So, you know, you have your rap songs like Sicko Mode, where it's normal, and then you switch the flow and everything. Honestly, the switching of the flow between chapter 4 and then the other 3, I enjoyed it. I kind of liked it. I thought
You
it
like
was,
the change up?
I did. I thought it was a good little change of.
No, you didn't.
Yes, you did.
I thought they were going too fast with it almost, where like the rest of the book was just gonna be boring. 'cause
Yeah,
all
I
the
can kinda
past
see
the-
that.
That's what I thought too, but then it
Yeah,
kind
I
of
can
switches up the
understand
flow a little bit.
Well, it's
slows
probably it helped the
down.
book definitely to make it longer at least, but I don't know.
Made me want to die.
Yeah, I still wanted it to be
How
more
long
about.
until we hear from Jonathan again?
Jonathan's like later in the book.
That's chapter 19. Goodness gracious.
Yeah.
Wait, we have a while.
Whoa, wait, hold on.
There's only 3 more chapters of Jonathan.
But if you notice from chapter 8 to chapter 9, it changes from Mina Murray's journal to
Mina Harker.
Mina Harker.
Oh,
Mary.
Just show up randomly.
That's a little bit of foreshadowing. So, does anybody have any questions
That's what I
over
was about to
chapter
ask.
1?
Chapter 1.
Yeah,
How about the
go
whole
over
book? Like any just.
Well, let's just go
Anything
chronologically.
Yeah,
you don't
let's go chapter by
Let's go
chapter, chapter by chapter,
chronological.
so we can look at it together. You know?
Yeah.
You know?
So I thought chapter 1 had a lot of my poster I did for those themes and stuff for her class
What was
was
the theme?
geography.
Geography.
And chapter 1 there was a heavy amount of geography mentioned.
True.
May I interrupt here? I've got something good to say.
Yes, you can.
Right here, where he talked about the bridges, the splendid bridges over the Danube. That's on page 1.
Danube.
Okay, I watched the movie with my dad. It was during World War II, and the Japanese were taking British soldiers, officers, and building bridges because the East was known for their immaculate bridges, while the West was kind of lagging behind. And so in this movie, they're trying to be like more modern, more up to standard, and that kind of stood out to me.
So West was
Immediately.
the worst part in the movie, or was the less developed
The
part?
West, like Japan, China, Russia, all those are in the West, and the East was like Europe. It's like Europe. The difference between Europe and Asia.
Ah,
So here you have,
and this follows.
or no, I guess West, right?
Yeah, you
Yeah,
flip
West
it around.
and East.
Yeah.
But they're trying to be more like the fancy bridges over there.
to the east.
Yes.
So-
To the West, sorry.
To the west.
But Europe.
In the book, oh yeah, the west is the fancy. In the east.
And so he was talking about the glorious bridge.
Mhm. I see the connection you made. That's
I think the first chapter did an excellent job of setting up the book
It
and
was
how
the
eerie it was going to be.
It was a foreshadowing.
Yeah,
It
just
was
with
a
everybody
total
telling him
foreshadowing.
like don't go there, but they would never say exactly what it was, so he never.
Like, why would you do that?
Why would you still go? Yeah, it makes no
I
sense.
was
like,
sitting there thinking,
They
like,
gave
even
him
if I
a window.
didn't
They're like,
know it
don't
was
go
about-
within these days and you'll be fine. And
Yeah.
he's like, I have
I'm
to
going
go
right now.
Yeah, like.
Like
That
people don't
was-
even speak of him.
That was my notes. Was very sus. The couple shut down, and wouldn't talk about what happened and why he.
Did y'all notice that he was not able to find any map giving the exact location of
Yes.
Castle
I
Drive?
actually wrote that down.
I
Right
thought that was because it says whilst and least known. Maybe because everybody that's been there has been eaten.
But that's
Exactly.
not true.
Yeah, like,
But that's not true. Those groups that
But-
came in and brought the coffins left.
Okay, but they can't draw maps. They're very poor
Yeah,
people.
that's a good.
But how
that's a
did they
good
get there,
question.
though?
But yeah,
But how did
exactly.
they
How
get
would
there?
they find it? Do you?
Because I think they do dealings with Dracula. Like they know what he's about.
I don't think Dracula tells anybody what he's about.
The three girls. They know what's up.
Are they?
But are they vampires
Yeah.
though?
Yeah.
That's
Because
what
they,
I was-
there's
they
some
went to
type
bite
of-
his neck.
Yeah.
But there's
they
some
were-
type of like freaking.
Well, there's something because
Yeah,
they
'cause
wanted
they
to.
just showed up at a gold.
They showed up
river.
from the moonlight and like the particles
Yeah, because
in
then
the
they just
air.
disappear and everything too.
I don't think they're vampires.
I don't know. I was confused at that part. I won't lie. When they started
Yeah.
mentioning them, I
I'm
was,
sure we'll find out sometime.
Yeah, I would hope
Can
so.
I bring my tea in here?
There's some type of something.
Oh, then I like how like other people while he was on his way gave him gifts of good luck.
Yeah.
Well, it
Like,
wasn't
they tried
gifts.
to-
It was like
crosses and
religious.
everything?
Well, yeah, but
religious.
still, but-
Yeah.
Like you've warned him that much, and he's still like, it's all right. I'm just gonna
Where's
keep going.
And
there's
then, like, when
And
he's
then-
in the castle, that's when he realizes he's like, "Oh, I made a mistake by coming here." After he sees all
And
that
that's when he
stuff.
started like putting value on the gifts, like that. The cross. He
Mhm.
didn't have. He thought it was like
When he
something
put it above
useless
his
to him.
head.
And
yeah,
then
he like had a religion change
Yeah.
almost.
What he feared for your life.
Going back to the bridges, there's. Well, it says the further east you go,
Less
the
punctual.
more unpunctual are the trains.
Yeah.
So that plus the bridges and lack of maps seems to me like it's not very much of a developed country, especially looking at the classes.
Romania, and that part of Romania is not developed at all. You
Even
can imagine back then too. Even today,
though there's
like-
different classes, they're all poor.
Well, yeah, I literally wrote a note that the country was very
if you're outside
behind, like beat up and stuff. It was
in
not a very
Romania,
nice
if
country.
you're not in the cities in Romania, it's all just farm
Farming.
towns, just
It's like
every
like-
which way.
Yeah, they say that page 3, like it was not a very, and like the Slovaks were very strange attire compared to the rest of the world that he was used to. So it's just a different type of the country. Like they just have different things.
Also, that comes into play when you're trying to escape from a castle with vampires. If the trains are unpunctual, it's not very developed. I'm sure they don't have an excellent.
I feel like
service.
you could easily escape that castle.
I
They
feel
make
like
it seem a lot harder because that castle, it says like it's on a 1,000-foot cliff.
Yeah.
So you can see out everywhere. You can see where you have to go.
But
But
no,
it said
but
there's
no
a
one
lot of
knows where.
trees.
Like you know where you are, but it's like
You-
the
but he doesn't know
perception
where
of
he
it
is.
is way different.
But if you can like find a line and know where you have to go and then follow that line, I feel like he could get out and actually escape.
Would you like to crawl
What
down
about the
a
wolves?
1,000-foot cliff?
Yeah, and even if you do go at the
That's-
front, it's
I
not
mean,
like
yeah, that's
Yeah,
you're
there's
not
the
gonna, you're just
wolves.
gonna be able to run. Yeah, exactly. Like,
I feel like
wolves
wolves
all
would be the
that.
least you can.
What are the wolves? Because I don't think they're wolves. It's some type of.
there's something. It's
It was probably
Spirit
controls
something.
them.
Some
ritualistic
people-
thing.
Yeah.
But they were scared. were
Maybe
they
it's like the
scared
souls of
them?
the people he's already killed. Like,
That's
you know, like, and then they just come back to like just help.
Because
and
how does he
already know
listen? Or
them.
how does he control them?
Exactly, it makes no
And
sense.
the 3 girls listen to him as well.
Yeah,
When he opened that,
Those girls had to have been vampires. No way.
that's
they
we'll
weren't.
we'll
Because
get
it
there.
talks
Chapter.
about
Is
their
there-
breath on his neck and the tingling sensation, and then how they just sank their teeth into his neck.
that's kind of hybrid.
Yeah.
Shapeshifter vampire.
I also thought 2 of them were family with Dracula because they had the same features
Mm.
and everything.
It could be a whole family. You never
Vampires
know.
could just fade away into nothing, though.
Are there more vampires in the boxes?
I don't.
He
I don't
never
know.
said.
I don't think so. I think that'd be
But I
more
feel
like
like-
his bodies.
No, but I feel like there would be a possibility that there are vampires.
Why are
But
there
why?
50 for
Why?
one person?
Yeah.
Yeah, why are they? I don't understand that part. Alright, you guys want to go to chapter 2?
Chapter 2.
I've still
I
got
feel like-
sticky notes.
I feel like we
I know, but
jumped around a little bit.
a little bit, yeah, we did.
Oh, I saw.
Well,
I did notice some dramatic irony in here.
That's what I did too. But I
Uh,
also asked myself in a few of these places, like, is he dreaming at some points during this? Like, during the whole wolf thing and
I
everything?
don't think
there
so.
was one
Because it talks
point.
about how he's so tired. And so I feel like he
But
could-
remember when he tried to, like, when he asked Dracula if he could leave that night, he, like, opened the door, said something, and the wolf started howling. He's like, no.
no, they came to the door. Is what
Yeah.
he said. Yeah, they were like,
And then with the flame in the background, the blue flame or whatever it was.
I still don't understand that.
They said
I think that lit where it could go.
treasure. No,
I think
they
it-
said
I
it
know,
marked.
but that's what the
That's
locals believe.
yeah.
Is that it's like covering up treasure.
But
But that's like
not
what
it.
probably he wants them to think, so they go
But why
to it.
wouldn't you go to it?
I don't know. Because they're all
Um,
eerie anyway. It's like, I don't know.
In chapter 1, Jonathan made a note, said, Mim, I must ask the Count about these superstitions. And it was both of which mean the same thing, talking about the people's names, like the Slovaks and the
Serbians.
Serbians, saying that they mean werewolf or vampire.
That's what I'm thinking. The
Thought
wolves
that was
are.
pretty ironic. Vampires?
Werewolves?
The wolves.
Or wolf?
werewolves?
Like it's it's a one word, but it means both of them.
I mean, it could. I just think it'd be so weird to add werewolves though in this type of story. Like, I bet you they're a thing, like, in this world, but they're not a thing in this book, if that makes sense.
I don't think I agree with that because Dracula is known for vampires, not known for having any werewolves in the book.
Yeah.
I don't know much about Dracula.
Well, I mean, you've seen like adaptations of Dracula. You've seen different
Like-
things of Dracula.
I've never heard of werewolves in Dracula.
Yeah. Isn't there like a thing where Dracula can literally like control what you do? Like if you're looking him in the eyes, he can like so.
It says something about mind control in here.
Well, I've been focusing on religion throughout this. And on page 4, it says that he was taught to, it's talking about the crucifix that that lady gave him.
Mhm.
He's taught to regard such things as in some measure idolatrous. So
Mm.
he was believing like that's a thing for pagans. And he's like a true Christian. You know, he doesn't worship idols.
But then later
And
on.
then later he's clutching that thing.
Oh, yeah.
Praying like
He's
crazy.
looking at that real quick.
But yeah, it's,
There's so many red flags on that trip that he just went.
Well, and then also
I mean, it's his job. You kind of just
description-
gotta go.
the description of the driver at the very start, very red lips and
So that is
sharp-looking
Dracula,
teeth.
right?
Yes.
That is Dracula.
Dracula.
You can go to page
Everything.
23, right, and see that that's Dracula?
That is
Okay.
Well, yeah. Well, chapter 2 is like where you start realizing everything that happens is Dracula
Well,
doing
yeah.
it.
Skipping ahead, but 23, like the bottom of 23.
23.
What I don't understand, why was
Doesn't
Dracula
it say something
delaying
like, this is
them?
a
'Cause
terrible
they
thought?
got lost.
It's like it's when he came to the realization.
Yeah.
We came to it in chapter 2, but he
No.
came to it right at the beginning of chapter 3.
And it says he can control the wolves by holding up his hand.
Yeah, that's kind of
All
weird.
that kind of stuff in chapter 2 or 3.
Hey, I'm not telling Hayden wrong here, right?
Mhm.
Like he asked why they why Dracula delayed the carriage.
Like they were simply going over and over the same ground again.
Oh, yeah.
What was
you're
his
kinda-
point?
I
in
feel
doing
like-
Was it
that?
to get him confused?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
He didn't
doesn't
want him to
to
know where it was. So
Exactly,
he couldn't
yeah,
leave, right?
exactly.
That's what I
It
thought.
keeps on going.
Yeah, so yeah, he knew
I
where
thought it was to
going the whole time.
disorientate him. That's
Exactly.
what I thought when I
Was
was
it
reading
still
Again, if you're
dark?
going the
Yeah,
same
it was
place
nice.
over and over, I don't know. Well, he did say he couldn't really see anything except the lights, so it kind of made sense. But it's weird.
Maybe he's not.
Like, how far is his place from like a town?
Well, maybe.
Well, I mean,
Like you think you like from the 1,000
So
foot drop, you see
translate-
like
so
light somewhere.
that area, modern day, there's a tourist town right there because everybody wants to go up to the castle and walk around.
Yeah, that
But I
makes
feel
sense.
like back then it would be 10 or 20 miles away.
Yeah, because no
from
one
that
wanted to be
castle.
near.
Yeah.
You think he drove them around, or they just kept driving around? Everybody's like, "Oh, Satan! What was it? Satan, witch, hell, and then vampire and werewolf." So like maybe Dracula knew they'd be saying stuff like that, and then they're driving around in circles, so the guy's like scared,
Freaking out.
and then he comes and rescues them.
Yeah. So
And
he
he's
wants
like,
them
"Oh,
to
this guy's
open up and trust him.
yeah, this guy saved me from these weird people."
Well, and he saved him from the wolves as well, which he
Yeah.
called
When he
in
held
now
up
that
his
we
hand,
know.
he just put up his hand and the wolves just did.
What's that thing?
And he thought he like knew how to like talk to them.
Yeah,
he,
he thought it was
he
like a
figured
wolf
something,
thing,
but he
like,
didn't know what it was.
What is that thing where like if you've been kidnapped and you don't really want to leave because you're like attached to your kidnapper? You know what that
Like,
is?
it can happen because like you kidnapped at a young age, you'll start becoming attached to him.
Or if
Yeah.
you have a bad home life or
Like,
something.
what is that
Yeah.
called? Something.
I don't know the name of
I'm gonna
it.
look it up.
But then we were talking about God, like how he wasn't like believing in God, and suddenly he's like, "God, keep me if only for the sake of those who."
No,
Sake
so
of
he
those
was
dear to
religious.
He was religious.
What was religious?
He was just
before?
making fun of to the extent how religious they were.
Exactly, and that was the part that was like confusing because at the
Mhm.
same time he's like making fun of them, and then suddenly like 5 minutes later in the book he's like asking God to protect him as much as possible.
I think he had to switch a heart once he realized.
So
Yeah.
the crucifix over his bed.
Stockholm syndrome.
That's really what that is.
That's what that is?
I didn't know that actually. I don't know.
What time we got on that?
About
18 minutes ago.
18.
Not
Yeah,
bad.
and we're only in chapter 2.
We're on
So,
chapter 2. So.
so
Let me look at my notes.
where would we
here.
like to go?
Okay,
But he is stupid. He is a stupid dude. I don't care what.
Jonathan?
Yes, he is stupid. Like
You
it takes
can go.
him so
You can
long.
go around.
Hey, what does
doing
this
that so
say
much
on
better.
page 6? They were driving around and somebody said, "Iston Sack or whatever."
I see what
God
you're
see.
right here, and he crossed himself reverently.
Is that like the barrier of where
I don't
it
know.
crosses
Okay,
from
what-
God's reigning over us to Dracula's gonna eat us?
from where God
No,
actually
they probably-
has
they
protection to the evil, because they said that whole area is like evil. Like during that whatever that day was, that it's a period where no
And then when
one's
it hit
safe.
midnight, it got worse, and no
Yeah.
one wanted to even be
Yeah.
outside at that time.
So maybe that was crossing over from like God's protection where he could to.
That's actually good. That's actually. I
don't know.
that really could be it. I agree with that.
So why were all of these people in the traveling with him? Where were they going? Does
They're it's like they're going
That
from
was
one
like-
town to another. and then
Exactly.
in the
It
middle
was just
Dracula.
kind of his way to
picked up
get
in the
there.
middle?
Yeah.
Yeah, but then everyone stayed at their town. And he just kept
Hey,
going.
I have wrote a note. It says, "What's with the rocks and blue flame?" I remember the blue flame. What was the rocks?
The rocks.
It's
Are you
like,
talking about like the mountains or the?
no, when they were going,
Where do you see, what page do you see this
that's
on?
on page 10.
10.
I wrote a note, and I don't know what rocks I'm talking
Okay, let's see. Gathering a few stones formed them into some device.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, it must be very faint or not seen too much.
If what Dracula was saying about the locals believe that's where treasure is,
Well,
you
then,
think it's like, oh, it's not here, so don't come looking for the blue flame here or what?
because then he says, once there appeared a strange optical effect when he stood between me and the flame, he did not obstruct it.
It's obviously not treasure.
I didn't even catch that the first time around.
You could see it through him.
Yeah.
That was
But
weird.
how does that? I don't understand.
But
He said like a ghostly flicker, like
Mhm.
and you could just you
Well,
could-
you know
can't see
what?
it
You
in
know
the
what
mirror.
Dracula's
yeah. Well,
or
yeah.
and the girl's appearance reminds me of the Hamlet ghost. Was he ever like able to physically touch anything though? I can't remember.
The ghost in Hamlet.
I don't
Yeah,
think he altered anything. He was able to stand on the ground.
But
he
it
knocked
could- he
something
couldn't-
down?
No,
I
he
thought
didn't stay on the ground. He
He
floated.
levitated.
Did
Yeah.
he not knock anything down?
No.
I swear someone knocked something
He
down.
never came into contact with
Okay.
anything.
Did y'all see they referenced Hamlet?
Yeah.
Yeah, they did.
Oh yeah, they referenced. Yeah, they referenced.
Well, because Shakespeare was such a big author.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a very.
Most major literary
What's it
works.
called? A very.
Well, that would have been
Prolific.
not very far before
Prolific,
this,
yeah,
right?
prolific.
When was Dracula written?
Influential.
Yeah, influential. Thank you.
90, late 90s, early 1900s, right?
Yeah.
So
Well,
that
this
would
is
have been
late.
too long after.
Well, this took him 11 years to write.
Yeah, but I mean, Shakespeare only would have been 20 years older, so.
Shakespeare was 1500s.
I don't think those blue flames represent treasure. Because
1600s.
Dracula would
I
have
don't
no
think so
reason
either.
to check a blue flame for treasure. He has all the treasure
Yeah.
he needs.
I think
He's
it
got all
was
that gold
to
and
start
silver.
like a thing for people to think that's what it was. If that makes
So it
sense.
has another deep.
I thought it was like
Maybe
to
it's like a
lure
little
people.
trap.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
thought it was to lure people.
Maybe
that
it was
sounds
like a
more of a
booby trap.
like-
He had to disarm
Because if
them
I
with
see a
rocks or
blue
something.
flame just light up in the middle of the full, like,
Oh,
I'm checking.
But
I was
why would he
scared.
go for Jonathan? Like all that work to get Jonathan there when he has towns around him of people
Well, is he
that.
not trying to relocate to England?
Yeah, I think he is. He's,
Is he actually
I
trying
think-
to, or is it just a lie?
What-
Just to
well,
get people there?
apparently he just came in on a ship.
Think about it that way. He's trying to go to England. That's his way to learn more about England. He's talking about like prostitutes. So what do
Hey,
you
where
do?
is
You get
Varna?
prostitutes. You bite them. You get their blood. Nobody thinks twice about the prostitutes.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. And then I hate how Jonathan pretty much stays longer because he feels guilty if he leaves early.
He's like, yeah, you're gonna stay for another month. Like,
Yeah, and Jonathan's
I'd-
like,
I'd
oh,
be-
okay,
I'd
that's
be like,
fine.
no.
Yeah.
I'd be like, let me go home.
Okay, this is definitely. It's got to be Dracula out of here.
Who's Hawkins again?
The doctor.
Okay.
Because look, I have a.
And
map
wasn't he
holder.
trying to tell Hawkins in a note, but the count was watching, so he couldn't
Mhm.
write
Yeah.
anything about
He was
any
trying
suspicion? Because he was watching him. the
Oh
whole
no,
time.
Hopkins is his boss.
Okay, well, oh yeah, same thing.
So look, this is where they picked the boat. Like this is where they got their cargo on the ship,
Mhm.
and this is Romania.
Gotcha.
So I mean that
Transylvania is more north Romania.
up here.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
But
at least they're kind of close.
they are.
And why would he include a story about a ship getting people eaten if it's not Dracula?
Yes.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah,
let's.
has to be.
I want to
Chapter
talk about
4.
how he just peeks out the window and sees Count crawling down the wall.
And you
I
just
mean-
and you just stay there. You
Yeah,
don't, you don't
I
even
mean-
go and look at anything. You
Like, I
kinda
mean,
just
he
stay
tries the
there.
doors and stuff, but he just doesn't like actually put effort into it.
But I feel like you can open a door if you really want to. If you're really desperate.
Yeah, like on page 29, he literally just sees him crawling down the wall. He's like, spying on him at first just to try to see what he's doing at night. And I don't know, it's. And then this is when the women come to play because he starts trying to figure out like castles, like get a visual representation of where to go if he wants to escape.
Mhm.
And that's when he runs into all the women, which I thought was a dream at first.
Once
I didn't
more, I've
understand.
seen the count go out in this lizard fashion.
And then the Count saves him from the women, which.
I thought it was interesting.
Well, he saved him because they were about to eat him, and he wasn't gonna get a bite.
Yeah, exactly. I was like,
I don't know. Actually, I don't think this really applies anymore. But on page 17, I made a note. That's like in the top, where he's talking about wanting to go to England.
okay.
That he seems to care about his status. I thought that might be interesting, but now
17.
Well, it's not like he
Yeah.
wants people to know he's just
No, I don't think he really cares about his status. I
No.
think he just wants to eat everybody.
I think he's more of a.
I think they're
He
gonna
doesn't
do it.
really want to be seen.
I think it was just kind of a
Well, like the questions he
Yeah.
asked about people in England, the way strippers work, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I must have missed that part.
You did? When he talks about the prostitutes?
Where's the baby?
One thing I did want to bring
I'll
up.
find it.
So you talked about him leaving, like he crossed that barrier from God's seat or whatever into this new land that they're talking about, and it says in here that that land was war grounds for centuries. So it's a bunch of people that have died all right there. So it's like adds to the sense of like, oh, it's haunted or something, you know? Because like, what do you think of a graveyard when you walk through there? Like the sense of a football field.
Eerie is.
Yeah.
It's like you don't
Gives
know
off
what
that same kind of.
Well, like, that might be, he might like areas like that because
Dracula does.
Mina and Lucy, like where they've been sitting the whole time, they've been sitting on gravestones talking to these old men.
Mm-hmm.
And that one old man got killed, maybe, he probably got eaten, I bet, by Dracula. Did it say cause of death or did, it said it looked like he was scared.
Mm-hmm.
And he fell. So either the dog or Dracula scared him.
What's up on page 37? I know what.
Wow, we just jumped.
Well, yeah, we need to get going with some of these chapters. We've been on chapter like.
We've been on the first 30.
Yeah. Okay, but when he sees Count takes his stuff and is wearing his suit.
Yeah, I don't understand that. Why did
I was like,
Count take
No,
all?
it's so that the people, like if somebody came asking, like, have you seen this guy? He came here wearing these clothes, whatever. He said, yeah, I saw him the other day dropping off his mail.
But he's wearing his clothes.
So that people would think it was him
Ah.
mailing his stuff, but
I see.
Dracula actually wrote it and was probably the one that put it in the or he is the one that put it in
Yeah,
the
because on the 31st of May it says, this morning when I woke up, I thought I would provide myself with some paper and envelopes from my bag and keep them in my pocket so that I might write in case I should get an opportunity. But again, a surprise, again a shock. Every scrap of paper is gone, and with it, all my notes. So
I can't believe he's gotten away with the journal the whole time. Like, so it would ruin the story if he didn't. But
Oh, yeah.
realistically, Dracula's finding that journal.
Well, I don't know, because you remember when he fell asleep, or like we had
That when he carried him.
that dream, yeah. You would have thought he would have searched his pockets.
Yeah. That.
Well, he might just not care.
That's
Like,
where
who's
we're
gonna
at
find
right
him?
here. No, it's not. But Dracula took all his paper and stuff after that again
Yeah.
too, as well.
Yeah. I'm sure he saw the journal, but like, what's he gonna do? The people he dropped his letters to turned him into Dracula, and I mean he's gonna plan on eating him anyway. So
That's why
nobody's
I
gonna see
think
the journal.
Dracula has a connection with all those people. He's letting them stay there without hurting them, not eating
He's
them.
probably paying him good. He's got all that gold.
But it's covered in dust, hasn't been touched.
Wipe the dust off.
What?
I mean,
He's not using it. I
Yeah,
mean.
not yet.
When there's the chapter about the women vampires, wherever they are.
Mhm.
At the end of the chapter, it talks about how they threw a sack and it started moving, and there's a half smothered child in it.
Yeah, that lady.
The mom, the mother came crying later on,
She's begging for her.
child back, and then Dracula called the wolves in, and they ate her.
Oh, I missed it. Okay.
Which
I misread that.
no.
Did he pick that kid up wearing Jonathan's clothes? Because she came to the window and saw
saw
Jonathan,
Jonathan.
and started yelling at him.
I don't think so. I
don't
think
think
she just
so.
saw Jonathan in the castle.
Yeah.
It sounds like Jonathan is right over the main courtyard, because
Yeah.
every time
When
anything
he
happens,
looks out his window, that's what he sees
yeah.
in his bedroom.
But I don't understand if he's also got a 1,000-foot cliff.
So how it works in Dracula's castle is it's like a little hill all going up. There's walks, there's steps all going up to like the little castle on top of the hill. And there's like four, you know how like a castle is four corners, there's a little courtyard right in the center of it, right? You can walk into the center of it because there's a little overhanging, but then you have everything out. And then when you look out and down, you see all the cliffs. If you look
So you got an inside window and an outside
Yeah.
window, is what you're saying?
I would assume so.
Well, he could have gold in just more than one room. Because
Yeah.
Oh,
this is
for
massive.
sure. He's
Yeah.
he's way richer than.
Well, he's loaded
people
because he's
think.
been alive forever.
Yeah, and he just steals whatever money.
That was interesting when he's talking about the wars.
I
He's
don't
like,
know.
we did
Question.
this, we did that.
It hasn't really gave.
It doesn't give you a timeline.
Yeah, they gave some like
There's no background
foreshadowing
information on
about it,
it.
like he'd been there because he said gave all the accurate historical that he was there. Jonathan made a note of that it was weird that he said it like he was there.
It's very similar to the old man. He's always telling Lucy and Mina stories. Like, I mean, he hasn't been around for thousands of years, but he's been around a while, so he's seen a thing or two. So.
Okay. Where is
I
it?
think we hit 30 minutes, so we want to keep going or call it.
Well, we didn't really talk about the chapters
We went
5 and
pretty-
6,
we
like the
went pretty in
confusion.
depth though with
We
it.
did, yeah.
You want to
talk
go
about
into the
packages?
girls?
Read through this chapter.
No.
No.
Yes.
That's why we don't talk about it. Okay, whatever. Okay, so yeah, y'all want to talk about 5 and 6? Just like a simple go over it real quick.
Yeah.
Just might as well.
Woman journal. This
I
is
put,
a change of the flow.
I think it's weird how men are just throwing themselves.
Yeah.
At them.
Yeah, just
So that's what
kind of.
happens.
I
so
guess,
much
but at the
in
same
modern
time, you'd almost
society.
feel like, okay, yeah, that's
Okay,
true.
but how many times you walked up to a girl and just proposed?
But you know how many guys do that though?
It was an old
Well,
custom.
the two dudes who got turned down were at the end of it, like when they got turned down, like, can I at least be your faithful friend? Like both of them had said the exact same thing, so they want to be in there somehow.
Okay, but you really break up. Once you say, I'll just be your friend, it'll be okay.
Yeah.
And then eventually it just falls off.
Yeah,
Like,
that's what happens because it's just too hard just to try to. Yeah. Okay. Well. Okay.
I put that Lucy cries a lot. But she does. It's a drop of a hat. That girl's crying.
She
Has
got
nothing
3
to do with
proposals.
the
That's
advance of the
just
story,
insane.
but-
So why did she say yes to
Just the guy she loved.
Yeah.
Well, I know, but I find it weird.
Because he's loaded, good
yeah.
looking. That's about it. That's all you need.
Yeah, that's honestly true.
Okay, I think
From
I would have
good-
married the
from
kid from
good
Texas
family?
if I was her. Seems like a homie.
It did seem cool.
I made a note that they're both heartbroken and they're about to get drunk together. So I like nothing. I was thinking nothing good can come out of this. Then we just watch the guy eat ants and spiders and.
Yeah.
And then in
Birds.
Mina's journal, not journal, well, like Mina's like part of the book, when she realizes that the text, like the letters she's getting from Jonathan, are like his writing, but at the
Just
same time
not
not
his
his
writing.
Yeah,
Not
not
his-
his. Writing.
Not his words.
Exactly, but yeah. So
I
I
thought
was
it was
like,
interesting on page 56, going back to Christianity. There's like that old man's pretty much saying that people put good stuff on the tombstones that aren't necessarily the same. Like that one kid that jumped off the cliff and killed himself.
mm-hmm.
He always thought his mother would go to heaven because she's very pious, which means religious. But like now it'd be like, oh, she
Yeah.
was beating him and stuff, so she clearly wasn't going to
I
heaven.
let her put a suicide note. Not a suicide note, but
Hey, what's a? I have a
Sticky note.
sticky note here. It says, "What's a steam?"
what page is that on?
56.
Oh, all the
56?
scenes
Yeah.
holding up their heads as well as they can, have their pride.
I don't know where I can
It
find
may be
that.
like a slang word for
I think it is a
dumb
describing
person or
word.
something
Yeah.
like that. I have a question for y'all.
Okay.
What are tombstones for?
Mark the dead.
Isn't
Well,
there's some weird meaning behind them, like why?
This guy is
Is there a
saying,
religious
Because I don't think there was like actual text on them like way back when. Was there? I don't
There
know.
always was. They
But
always had like
there was a
name
different meaning for it
and
though.
everything.
I don't know what the meaning was.
Name,
they
date, and normally it used to give a description on how
Wasn't it
they
just to make
died.
sure that people weren't buried on the same spot? Like you didn't dig up.
It is something like that
well, this says
to mark where people were.
the guy is saying that you have to carry your tombstone with you on the day of judgment. And that's why people are writing stuff so you can show God your tombstone.
Isn't
Be
that just
like,
a metaphor though?
I don't
Yeah,
know.
that's what he's saying. It's a metaphor. The tombstone's representing like his journal, right?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Also, where is I made a note somewhere? Is the great recorder another name for God?
I believe so.
He says,
Probably.
where
Yeah,
is-
because God sees everything, so it kind of just means he's.
So it will be until the great recorder sums me up and closes my ledger
Yeah.
account
Yeah.
and balance to profit or
It's
loss.
just a different way.
And
of
that's
relating to
talking
him.
about his sins and
Yeah.
Everything.
Do y'all think the prisoner is a vampire? Or not the prisoner, but
John.
the mental,
Oh.
whatever.
the guy eating the bugs and stuff.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't. Well,
He's a mental patient.
I wouldn't
And they'd be
assume so.
pre-developed.
But that's a thing, though. Yeah.
I think
don't think he's a
I think
vampire,
they want us
so-
to think he is a vampire because he's all weird like this.
Maybe he's not a person-eating vampire.
No,
What
I don't think that would.
vampires are. They just
That's
suck
all they
blood
are.
from people. That's what a vampire is.
Do y'all think Lucy's sleepwalking will end up
Something weird about
I
that.
didn't think
Yeah.
there was. I don't.
Like they mentioned it, they talked about it for a little too long for it to just be like
Yeah,
that.
you use it so much for this book.
Well, me and you
foreshadows
talked about that
so
earlier. I
much.
didn't really understand like why I mentioned.
All right.
Oh,
Wow.
the old man. One last thing. The old man says he's ready to die,
Mm-hmm.
and he says take all that crap back about writing good stuff on the tombstone. He's like, don't be honest. Tell him I was a good person.
So right before.
Yeah, and then he dies. Like 2 days later.
It's a lot.
Hey, we good?
Bye, Miss Lori.
Have a good day.
Hope that was on topic.